Hello, this is Daniel Mart back again, and for this week, I'm going to be doing another video. This is going to be more of a personal video, and as you can tell from the title, yeah, this is something that I've kind of discussed a little bit in some past videos. I've kind of alluded to it, but I kind of want to be straight up with you guys and say it to you guys, and in a sense, maybe it'll be kind of a sense of therapy for me, in a sense. But yeah, just kind of want to discuss it, to be honest with you, and that is simply I've been burnt out. Yeah, I am burnt out on the industry, which is weird because I've been doing this for 10 years. So, what does that mean? If I'm being honest, I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. What does that mean? What does feeling burnt out mean? And just to kind of have you guys understand where I'm coming from, as I just said before, I've been doing this for 10 years. I did a video earlier this year basically celebrating my 10 years in the industry. I actually did a little series, a 4-video series for a whole month, where I did, my 10 years just looking back in general, and some of my best stuff, some of my best work, some of my worst work, and whatever. And towards the tail end of doing that little series, I kind of realized it, and it's something that not that I realized it, better said, I finally admitted to myself, better said, that I'm just tired. Really, I am honestly just tired of the industry in a lot of ways. And I've been doing this for 10 years. And I think doing that series, the 4-part video series of me celebrating my 10 years on... I keep wanting to say 10 years on YouTube, which is the video I did last year, because last year was my 10-year anniversary on YouTube. But no, doing 10 years of acting and filmmaking, towards the tail end of that little series, I think I finally realized it for myself. And from that point on, I started really admitting it to myself that I don't know what I really want to do anymore in life, so to speak, and if this really is the right path for me. And I'm being completely honest, and so yeah, and if I'm being honest with myself and with you guys, this is a feeling I've had since at least a year, maybe more, if I'm being honest. It's been there for at least a year, but I've been ignoring it, and honestly, it's probably been there for even more. And in the past, I've had other types of burnouts. I've had momentary burnouts, or like, oh, I'm on this high, and then I'm crashing and burning, so to speak, but I'm always getting up. And one of the more notable examples would be, like, during the pandemic. I feel like everyone went through some kind of burnouts, personal or career-wise or whatever, during the pandemic when it first started. And I think I talked about this during one of those videos back when I did that little mini series. But 2018, 2019, I had a really good set of film. Those were some good set of years for me. I was really on the come up. I had done Sick Minded, I had done Debts Unpaid, I had done a number of other films, short films during that time that were getting very well received, good reception. I was working with Jace Elton on a lot of his fan films, and I was kind of on the come up. And right before the pandemic, I was talking to a bunch of local directors about being in their projects. 2020 hit, and everything went down. And I feel to an extent my career just never recovered from that. At that time, I was on the cusp of possibly getting signed to an agent, and then that didn't get through at the end because of stuff. And honestly, I'll be honest, me getting an agent, getting a manager of any kind has been one of the main reasons in general I've not liked the industry. I've never really discussed this at all, but I don't have an agent, I don't have a manager. And I can't really tell you why I don't have an agent. I can't really tell you why I don't have a manager. I think agent is really what I need, not manager per se, but I just use them interchangeably. But I can't really tell you why I don't have an agent. I've applied to several agencies down here in South Florida, and then just none of them want me. And the one excuse I always hear, and I'm going to be honest, I genuinely think it's a bullshit excuse, but it's one of those things I'd rather them just say, hey, you're just not a good fit for us right now, than the excuse that they always give me, which is always so frustrating because I always want to call bullshit. But the excuse I always hear is because you are not experienced enough. You do not have enough work on your resume to be signed with us. And I always just think that's just, for me at least, I feel like it's such a lot of bullshit. Because if you look at my IMDb and look at my resume, because I do send in my resume, because I have my IMDb, which I do think is one form of resume, but I also do send in my own personal, professional resume. And I'm like, I have all this work behind me. I have my awards, I have my nominations, whatever. And you're still not gonna sign me. And then I know some of the people you guys eventually do sign, or you do have on your roster, and it's like they have maybe 3 or 4 credits to their name under you. They've maybe gotten a handful of roles, and yes, they're good roles, but and that's because you give them to them. But like they don't. For me, it doesn't feel. It's always felt kind of unfair for me that I've been doing all this work. I always kind of grind my ass, and then I kind of don't get anything for it. And like I said, me not being able to get an agent is a huge part of the reason I'm kind of burnt out. I had a meeting earlier this year because of that, and again, I heard that excuse that you don't have enough experience, and it's again just very very frustrating. Because I know who they signed. Like I know one of the people they signed over me, and it's like, no offensive person, but like that guy's a model. He's done a few skits online, and that's it. Like, so that's honestly one of the reasons I'm burnt out recently, just because I'm not getting an agent, I'm not getting a manager. Another reason, honestly, kind of in tandem with that, I'm just not getting good roles, in my opinion. There is that whole thing of like if you don't have a good industry, just make your own industry, and I have tried to make that. I have tried to done that. That's why I am a producer. That's why I am a director, a writer as well. But when it comes to the actual acting perspective of it all, I personally just do not feel that I'm getting good meaty roles at all. I got a bunch of good roles, especially post pandemic. I got a bunch of good roles right before the pandemic, like Debts Unpaid, like Sick Minded, like some of the fan film stuff I did with Jace, like with the Wilfred series, for example, and the fan series, for example. Yeah, Wilfred fan series, for example. And just post pandemic, I don't really feel like I've gotten that many juicy roles. Spending some time together, that was a minor role. It was a pretty decent role. Spending some time together, I did that. Well, another fan film that I did with Jace post pandemic, I want to say it was post pandemic, which was the Chucky sequel that we did. But yeah, and then the only other ones I could think of that I think are juicy roles post pandemic would be the vampire thing I did last year, Primal Fear, that's what it's called, and something I did earlier this year, which is yet to come out, which I forget what it's called, honestly. If anything, the title may have changed because it's still in post production, so it's still getting worked on. But again, just in general, I don't feel like I've gotten that many meaty roles. And as an actor, yes, we have to do some like side character roles. You have to do like maybe extras. Maybe you have to do like walk-ins where we say like, "Here, Mr. Jones, here's your milk," stuff like that. But like me as an actor, I want as all actors do, we want to get those meaty roles, and I like it's one of those things. I audition for them, and I'm just kind of frustrated. I get frustrated because I don't feel like I'm doing the work I know I can do. I'm not given the opportunity to do, and that's honestly a huge reason why I just feel burnt out as of recently. I don't know. I just feel underappreciated in a lot of senses, and I'm not doing this video again to like, oh, woe me, pity me, whatever the expression is. But I also just want to be candid with you and say that I am very burnt out, and I'm not gonna lie, like a month, 2 months ago, when I finally admitted this to myself, when I really started talking to some of my friends about this, I genuinely cried. I talked to my mom about this, and I genuinely just started crying in the car because I just feel so burnt out. And it's one of those things, I don't know what I want to do anymore because this is all I've known for the past 10 years. Acting, directing, movies. Like, again, I have movie collections right here. Like, that's all. Yeah, what is this? Tomb Raider and Lars and the Real Girl, Like, these movies are my life. For example, like, one of my jobs is being a trivia night host, like I'm all about performing, and I just think, and acting, filmmaking, movies in general have helped me so much. Honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be, to be honest. I don't know where I'd be. I'd be extremely depressed. But at the same time, if I'm being honest, there's been times, especially as of late, where some of my depression has kind of come back in a sense, and it's been because of the industry as a whole, because of the fact that I've been underappreciated and whatever, like I think it's very easy for me as a person to like put on a mask and be like jovial and happy and be charismatic and do all the stuff when I need to do when I'm out in the field, when I'm out on set, when I'm out at a networking event. And I'm very confident in that, but it also just gets tiring. That's the thing. It gets very tiring, and that's the thing. I just don't know what to do. I still like acting. I still like filmmaking, but I don't know if I want to keep doing this, I guess. But I also feel like I have to because this is the only thing I've known. I don't really know what else to do. Like, like so I'm kind of just lost if I'm being honest. Which makes sense. I'm 25, quarter life crisis. You know, have that as you will. But that's really just it. Like I don't have the same passion that I have for acting anymore as I used to, or filmmaking in general. Um, I feel like it comes in peaks. So like I think the most recent peak was when I was doing the premiere for Captive, and we did that interview, and we were all having fun. But before that, which was what 2 3 weeks ago at this point, but before that, I really wasn't having fun. Like when you've seen some of the vlogs I've done for behind the scenes stuff. Like I definitely didn't have fun at that for during doing the filming for Admit One. I definitely didn't have fun for that. I didn't have fun doing La Familia. I had fun doing Garfield, and that was fun in the moments. But like, if I'm being honest with myself, it's not something that I'm gonna look back on and be like extremely joyful about. It's not like Pericles, for example, Pericles, which I did early last year, where I do still feel all that wave of enthusiasm. And even thinking about that, because I remember I was talking with my mom about this, and another friend of mine too, at a different point. But like, I feel like just for me, a lot of these projects, I don't really have that great sense of enthusiasm. Even my favorite ones, very rarely do I have that great sense of enthusiasm for them. Looking back at them, like Pericles is maybe one of the only ones I can really think about having that sensation with, if I'm being honest. The Visitor, honestly, from back in the day when I first started off, but like, you know, I feel like looking back at it, there's a lot of projects I enjoyed, and I remember even thinking about this after I filmed my top 10, top 20, maybe top 30 favorite films or projects that I did. There's very few of them that, like, yes, I felt good about them. I was happy I did that, but there's very few of them that I'm actually enthusiastic about talking about them. Like, I want to talk about them, like, 24/7. Like, Pericles is definitely up there. The Visitor, kind of, but, like, I, I just feel lost, I guess, in a lot of senses. And I feel burnt out. Again, I feel very burnt out. I've been doing, if you want to count YouTube as part of entertainment, I've been in this industry, in the entertainment industry, for 11 years, really. But I've been pursuing acting for 10 years. I've been doing filmmaking for about 5, maybe 6 years, depending on how you want to measure it. I just feel burnt out. And I don't really know what comes next, if I'm being honest. I don't really know what comes next. Because, again, this is all I've known. Um, yeah, this is all I've known. And, yeah. I think that's really the one phrase that kind of just sticks in my mind. That's all I've known, so I don't really know how to move forward from it. And, it's one of those things I could talk about because I did a video in the past where, like, I finally accepted God into my life, which is true. I'm not trying to be dismissive of it, of course, because praise God, but, and I'm not trying to bring a religious sense into this, but at the same time, just like, yes, I am reading my Bible. I am trying to figure out what God wants from me at the same time, but, like, sometimes it's hard to figure out what God wants for you, or what life wants for you, or what the universe wants from you, at the moment. And sometimes you need to be patient for it. And for me, it's very hard to be patient. I want answers like now, and I'm not getting those answers now, so to speak. So it kind of feels weird, and that's why I kind of feel lost. And I don't really, again, I just, I just really don't know where to go forward from here. Upcoming projects that I'm gonna do the 48 film challenge with Alejo from McCree Productions. I know I have that I still need to do, and then I still have the release of Edemophobia. I believe that's what it's called, Edemophobia. That comes out in October, and which I had basically a cameo role for that. So that's a feature film that comes out in October, as well as a Snakes film. I forget what it's called, but it's like a Snake sequel to Matthew Mark Hunter. He did a Snake film a few years back, and then this is a sequel to it, so I have another cameo in that. Um, and that comes out by the end of the year. And then, of course, the one short film that I just talked about earlier in this video, um, which is, I'm just going to say it's unnamed, to be determined. And then Ant-Man 1, whenever the fuck that comes out. Probably by next year, if I'm being honest, given the bullshit behind that. But um, I just feel burnt out. That's really it. But like, yeah, back to what I was saying before. Like, well, what do I actually need to do right now? Really just the 48, and then just doing film festival runs for Captive, The Mechanic, and Loose Ends, as far as I know. And then finishing up the runs for Quince, the Date, and Corner, which those three their festival runs end at the end of this year. Festival that's Corner, the Date, and Quince, and then I'm still doing the festival runs for Loose Ends, The Mechanic, and Captive. Captive just started, so yeah. So I'm gonna be tied up with that for about a year, give or take. So yeah, basically after the 48, what do I do next? I have no idea, if I'm being honest. I genuinely don't know what the next move is. The funny thing is, I'm still auditioning for roles because again, it's the only thing I've known. It's the only thing I do know how to do. So, go figure. The only thing I know I'm gonna do at some point by the end of this year is get updated headshots. That's for damn sure. So I'm gonna be doing that. Hopefully that turns my luck around. But at the same time, do I care if it turns my luck around? Because I'm just so burnt out by it. I don't know. Look, I understand that this video has been very rambly. It's been a very rambling video that it's kind of feels like it's just aimless and nowhere, and who the fuck knows. But that's kind of how I feel right now. I'm aimless and nowhere, and who the fuck knows where I am. Um, I'm still figuring it out. Again, quarter life crisis, go figure. But like, I mean, I think I think I discussed this a bit in those videos when I was going over my 10 years of doing acting. I think I discussed this during the top 10 or top 15 worst things that happened to me as an actor, or whatever the fuck that video was called. But I think not getting into the BFA at FIU at the time I thought was a travesty. Looking back at it, now that I'm so far separated from what happened from then till now, there are a lot of stuff that happened between that time that I am thankful. And because of that, I am thankful that I didn't get into BFA. But I'm not gonna lie, there is a part of me that wonders what could have happened had I been in the BFA, because I know a lot of people who were on the BFA are now starting to have a bunch of successful careers. And for me, it always just seems like that. Like, that's what happens. Like, I always miss out on an opportunity because of one reason or another, and then everybody else who was on that opportunity train, so to speak, gets the opportunities that they get, that they benefit from that experience. That happened with the BFA, to a certain extent. That happened back at MDC, to a certain extent when I went to MDC at Miami Dade College, when we did some of the plays. And granted, some of the reasons that went south was because of COVID at the end, but still. Yeah, that's really it. I just don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. But I want to be honest with you because I feel like there's a lot of people in this industry who like put on a phase, who like, yes, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what I want, da 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 da, but when you talk to them, you realize that they're actually really lost, but they don't want to admit it to themselves. Even if you call them out, they're not going to admit it to themselves. They're not going to admit it to you. So I kind of just want to buck that trend, so to speak, and be like, no, I am tired. I am burnt out. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I want out of this career anymore. I'm not getting the opportunities that I want. I'm not getting the chances that I want. I'm not getting the roles. I'm not getting the respect. I'm not getting anything that I want, and it's pissing me off. I'm frustrated, and I'm burnt out. And logically, if I'm burnt out, I should quit. But that's the thing, I don't want to quit. I don't want to quit. So I don't know. I really don't know. It is what it is, what it is, I guess. But again, this is all I've done in my entire life, so. Or entire life, for the past 10 years of my life, you know? Um, I've been doing this in some capacity since I was 14. Really, I want to really go even further back. Maybe since I was 12. Ever since I started collecting movies, give or take, that would be 12. If you want to get really technical with it, I mean, in like fourth grade, I did a production of The Little Reindeer. The Little Reindeer. No, not The Little Reindeer. What the hell is that thing called? The Polar Express. I did a production of The Polar Express in like third or fourth grade. And you're like, what? 8 years old when you're in third grade? So what? 25 minus 8? What is that? You know? Then using that logic, I've been doing it for that many number of years. Not that it matters either way. But, I mean, look, just because I'm burnt out doesn't mean that this channel is gonna die, so to speak. I don't want you guys to worry about that for like the 5 people who watch this channel, anyways. But maybe the content on this channel maybe becomes a little bit different. It's still gonna be film based. It's still gonna be movie based. It's still gonna be acting based in some capacity. But maybe it starts looking a little bit different. But honestly, I don't even know what that entails. I don't even know what that entails. So look, I'm still figuring stuff out. That's really it. I know this seems very rambly. I know I said that before, but that's a simple reality of the situation. I ramble a lot when I don't know what the hell to say. And I wanted this to be a very candid video with like very little cuts. There's probably like 3 or 4 cuts across this entire video as a whole, if that much. So yeah, that's basically it. I, Daniel Mart, am burnt out of this industry because I am not getting the chances or opportunities that I think I deserve or that I want, and I don't know what comes next. This is Daniel Mart, signing off.